Let's go beyond, let's go beyond, let's go beyond.
My name is Isaac Gabantu. I'm a Ugandan who went to school in Tanzania and lived in Kenya. So I'm your typical East African. 20 years ago, I walked into this country just about the time when everybody was singing Unbogable. You're just letting the old man live, and that's how I got welcomed here. Many years later, my family and I would move to Dar es Salaam for 5 years, and I came back just before the post-election violence. When I came back, I negotiated with my father because I did not like school. And I told him, "What do you want?" He said, "I just want you to pass good enough to go to a school like Daystar to pursue that thing that you love so much called media." I was informed too then, and I told him, "If I did my form for this year and I got you that C+, would you be happy?" He said yes. And that's how I ended up being a homeschooled child, and I did my form 2, 3, and 4 in 1 year. When I was at Daystar, my parents couldn't pay for the school fees. So I did my 2 semesters only. At the end of my 2nd semester, I walked into the finance person's office and I asked her if she could just let me do that semester's exam, keep my results until when I pay, then maybe come back. She said no. And that's when I stumbled upon this thing I love so much called production. But before then, my first moment that really got me stretched was when I loved this thing called media so much that the day when I finished my Form 4, I actually was at NTV, Citizen and KTN to drop off my CV. I believed it was an amazing CV, but Emmanuel, Juma and the others saw something very different. They denied me an opportunity. At that point in time, I tracked down Jeff Koinange unknowingly, and I found him, I think, at Fairview Hotel where he used to shoot the JKL then at K24. I spoke to him, and I waited for him actually until he had finished his interviews. Then I approached him, I told him, "I want to be on the bench." Wrong question and wrong request. Then they used to shoot on tape. So the tape had a sticker. He grabbed the sticker off the tape, wrote his email address and said, "You go out there, do something, and just maybe we will find you when you've done something, and then you'll be on the bench." Many years later, I've not been on the bench. But as soon as I left Daystar, or as soon as I walked out of that finance lady's office, came across a good friend of mine who was way older when we were still the same church, but now had her own production company. And that's when Dorothy Getuba allowed me to join Spielworks Media as the head of digital then. To be a head of digital at the time when I joined Spielworks, all you had to know is how to tweet. And that's all I knew. But she gave me that opportunity and I took it up. And I remember working under people like Oyunga Pala and many others while at Spielworks Media. Years later, I would leave Dorothy Getuba's company to then become my own person. I set up a company with a friend of mine called Wahiga and ran an agency called Agency X. At that point in time, we were a very small agency and we didn't really get to nail most of the big jobs that we probably wanted. It was a very tough space to be in, so we had to bring it to an end. And unfortunately, Wahiga had to go his way, I had to go my way, but we remained very good friends. He went on to win the BBC award, and I went on to start my own company. So Gabantu Studios is a live digital production company. So what we do is that we help brands express themselves using live video, either through product launches, brand experience events. But recently, we've also started doing our own original live content, so talk shows, etc. and the rest. We've also ventured into green screen technology, which allows us then to create virtual events using virtual sets out of just green screen our studios. So mainly, that's our focus. We create digital live content or experiences. At the point when we started Gabantu Studios, all we were was just a production company. But somewhere along the way, we stumbled upon one of those monthly posts that Zuckerberg does. And right in the middle of his post, he said, one of the most key things for Facebook moving forward is going to be live video. And that struck me. At a point when live video was really not a very big thing as opposed to what it is now after the Rona, we took up this risk and actually invested in a gentleman called Burale to then shoot a 10-episode series, which was a live show actually in a hotel right here in Westlands, and we shot it for 10 weeks straight. I didn't have any equipment, so what I did, I partnered with a good friend of mine called Kintu, the owner of 6 to 6, and we shot these amazing episodes. But after the 10th week, after running after sponsors, we had to give up because then we couldn't sustain the production. A week before the World Cup trophy came to Nairobi, I had shipped in equipment that could allow me now to produce my own live events. They were still in the box, but again, speaking of stretching, we made a call of faith to Coca-Cola, to a man called Alovi, and asked him for an opportunity to actually stream live the World Cup trophy showcasing at the KICC. Alovi said the budgets for that production were already set in December. This was April. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen. But as something that's gotten us through the doors in many ways, we actually offered to give this service to Coca-Cola at no cost. And Alovi said, you know what? Fine, you guys go ahead and do it. Kenya was the only country where actually the World Cup trophy was actually shown live. And while KICC could attract about 15,000 people, by going live, they actually attracted about 35,000 people. Recently, Safaricom trusted us with actually streaming the Safaricom at 20 event, which was for us a stretch equal to the many other stretches that we have faced in the past. What going beyond means for me, with all the stories that and many other that actually make up my life, is the fact that many times, as my good friend says, you will be called upon to do something, but sometimes the answer doesn't have to be yes or no. Just say yes, and then figure out how to do it later. In these many years, I've learned that I'm my best hype man, and nobody else is going to do that for me. So I trust myself, even when I don't know how to do something, and I trust that if I put my mind to it, I just might get it done well. So I trust that you can go beyond and even further.